Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Hold on, I'm having some issues here with it. No, that's not what we want to listen to. It's a great song. I would play that every day as your wake-up song if I could, but we will get flagged for that one. Okay, I am having trouble with the lights here. Let's see if I fix it. There we go. All right, guys, how are you doing this morning? Dark Seth, yeah. Maybe whenever it's like intense market trading, we should we can turn this off. Let's see if I can get it to work from here. Usually it doesn't work from here. Hold on. Aha! Red alert. There we go. Now, you know what? That doesn't work. My face is too bright in that situation. It doesn't work. It just makes me look like I think I'm evil or something like that. Huh. Well, anyways. Oh, and I'm glad I took my headphones off there because I just realized I had the speakers on. Oh, man. Oh, I have all of these windows open and we don't need to see. Okay. Luckily you didn't see any fancy code. All right. The charts. Why is this daily chart popping up all the way over here? Well, whatever. Oh, you know why it is? It's because I changed what my primary monitor was to play games yesterday. Okay, so here we got the treasuries, man. And it looks like we're still a little bit on the downturn again today. So this kind of like Trump trade, I guess you could say, it just continues to be incredibly strong. You know, we had some data that was kind of weak on the retail sales, but then some other things that they and they sold it pretty hard, but then ended up by the end of the day. So that kind of makes me think that, you know, day traders took positions on and ended up having to cover them. We'll see if we get any kind of turnaround. I tell you what, man, if we start getting above here and we get to the point where like momentum long starts to come into play, and it could be difficult to do it down in here because, you know, like they want to look for like a 10-day breakout or something like that, and so it might be up here. But if we were to get a momentum change, I really feel like this thing could flip super hard the other way. But I don't think that that's going to happen today. So S&P 500 kind of struggling on Friday. It was options expiration. So that just kind of turned into a dumpster fire. A little bit of a bounce, but we're still kind of down there today too. We'll see what they do when they open up, but we're gonna have to keep a close eye on that one. Here we got oil taking a small rung lower, but still within the range. Gold and silver maybe trying to stage a comeback. I really feel like that gold is oversold here, but man, you know, it's always a rough trading gold, right? You're going long. Kappa, having taken a pretty big hit last week, this looks pretty much unchanged overnight. And then we've got the Japanese yen actually a slight little bit of a turnaround here in the Japanese yen, but the dollar pretty much where it is. So let's give that a little bit more time before we make too many big conclusions off of that one. And the Bitcoin's still holding that 90,000 area. A lot of money got printed via Tether. So something I want to note about the Tether situation. First of all, it seems to me that the next administration is extremely unlikely to do anything about the Tether situation. But it also seems to me that Tether doesn't just print money willy-nilly. It seems to me that what they do is they act as a bank. They print money when people want to make loans, and they usually have to put up a certain amount of collateral for that loan. So like they might get $500 million and then Tether will print $1 billion of Tether for them or something like that. So it seems to me that when you are getting Tether prints, that it does suggest that maybe some players are getting into the market, but that they're just giving them more money than they actually have dollars for. Does that make sense? So something to keep in mind, because there could be large players that decide to take profits and it could cause problems, right? And that's always the issue in Bitcoin. But I would still say, or argue rather, that the near-term future in Bitcoin is likely to be up. At least until like beginning of next year. Okay. Until we get to like seasonal down periods. Okay, so got a couple of things. I saw some comments, so let's come and look at those comments. Let's see here. This is the only video online for DXFeed and NinjaTrader weighing whether to add DXFeed to my NinjaTrader or whether to purchase Bookmap with DXFeed. Since he never posted again, and neither did anyone else, I am presuming that DXFeed with the NinjaTrader 8 solution was not fit for purpose. No, that's not true. I would say it is fit for purpose. It's just I'm not trading stocks. Let's see here. Can you please make a video about enabling tick replay and using the cumulative delta indicator? Because I have a problem with tick enabling in the indicators go in calculating loop and what? The tick, you can't enable tick replay and the indicators go into calculating loop, and for cumulative delta there's a first subscription to pay for order flow question mark. Okay, so default NinjaTrader cumulative delta does require a subscription, but there are free ones out there. And what's the name of that option in tools, options, market data, show tick replay? Okay. So... Oh dear. Yeah. Oh dear, 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 dear. How am I gonna fix this? Maybe if I could... No, that's not gonna work either. How am I gonna move this if I can't touch the top of it? You know what? They're all doing this too. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is a terrible disaster, guys. What am I gonna do? Oh, there's usually a way to like right click, you know, like the window and like move it. No. Windows, move window when top is out of view. Sidian says just saying hi and going back to work. Okay, very good. Oh, and I didn't see there that Octavius said he was going long, but I can see that. The case for that, at least. Like, that there should be some attempt to create a long and see how they get it to go. Shift and right click the icon. No. Alt click. Control click. Come on. Ooh, hey, I fixed it. There we go. Pressed Windows key and like arrows. And that did it. Okay. Now I'm going to have to move all of these charts on the other screen too, because they all got moved up a little bit. Oh, I see. They all got moved up the amount of the taskbar because the taskbar moved. That's so stupid. So there's this thing where like I don't want notifications to show up, so I have it on this other screen that you guys never see. And if I play a video game wants to open up on the screen that is the primary display. And so to play a video game, I couldn't figure out what to do other than to switch what the primary display was. And apparently, switching the primary display around screwed up the Ninja Trader like that. That's crazy. Kind of hard to see with the glare on the screen. As detailed as it wants. So I'm going to turn that off for a second. Maybe there's some sort of Windows utility we can use that'll help us do this better next time. I also should save this. Save a backup of the workspace. Then I can just back up. Okay. That's probably good enough for now. Save that at first. Okay. Now, next thing is I made a cumulative delta. That's right. I made caching or advanced cumulative delta. I think that for now, I want to put it on a separate chart because I might have to refresh it and things like that. Oh, you know what? So, okay, so first thing is I'm changing the defaults on that. I'm changing the defaults on that. Drives me crazy. Chart styles. Oh, Activius is already out on it. So, you know, that reminds me of something I was thinking about the other day. Because I was looking at like my stats again, and I was like, wow, on the sim trades in the 10-year treasury, my stats are really, really good. I have a very, very favorable win rate, and I have a very good favorable excursion compared to adverse excursion. It's almost double. But my profit and loss do not match up to those MFE and MAE, which means that I am letting them come back on me too far before I get out. And Octavius almost never, he always, you know, he almost never misses it. So maybe I need to try and do it more like that. You know, as soon as you kind of start to get the signs, you get out. Okay, optimized candlestick, and are there default colors? Let's see here. Where does it set that? Ah, yes, there is. This dot up brush. Brushes. Dot cornflower blue. And down brush. Orange. We'll do it for the same thing for these. Up outline. Cornflower blue. Outline brush. Orange. Orange. We'll see it. Okay, and was I trying to... What did I do here? I think that I gave up. Went here to chart. Just picking a chart. Making it ZN. And I said... Nope, I don't like that, and I close it. So now... optimize candlestick. Cornflower blue, yay! Okay. Cool. So, it looks correct to me. Yes, sir. Now, we try putting on my new cumulative delta. I'm going to put out, we can do that in a second. I'll put the newest version of the indicators up on the website. I'm kind of debating whether I want to send an email out about it yet, or if I want to like make a video like explaining what changed or something. I don't know. Had a couple of ideas for indicators too. Don't let me forget. I got some stuff to write down. SBS accumulative delta. Cash tick replay. Yada 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 yada. Oh wait, actually, we want this chart to have tick replay turned on, and let's just only load like one day. Better. Okay, so that's not working. Interesting. My largest risking orders also is showing me an error. Is it doing it on a certain chart? It is. It is doing it on my... Wait, why is this... Is doing it on the ES 1 minute chart. So I'll have to look into that. Okay, did add that. I had two algos for the resting orders, and I just renamed the one filtered and one not. And the difference between them is like, okay, so you're taking all of the levels and you're adding them together, and you're kind of saying what were the max that those levels were and what was the min that those levels were, right? And then you're at, you know, what you add all of the mins together and you add all the maxes together. But another way of doing it is to just say, like, add them all together. Every time there's a change, add them all together, and that is the excuse me. Yeah, anytime there's a change, add them all together, and then that is the number, and calculate the min and max of that number. The difference would be if you had one order that was like switching between two prices, right? That's where it would kind of make a difference. So I had that old version that I had written that a long time ago, and I just kind of never had figured out like if I wanted to switch it over or whatever, or what to call it. And I just named it filtered and made them both available. Oh, okay. I thought that it was not working, but it was working. It's just that I did not have cache tick replay enabled. Oh, I do have cache tick replay enabled though. Okay, so my logic is wrong on that. That's exactly what I wanted to test though, so okay. Okay, so this one is not done. Oh, okay, make it. Right now it's only a data series. We want to have it handles. Okay, so I have some, so here's my idea. I'm gonna call it, okay, I want a companion indicator. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make an indicator that it looks for the, it looks for the inventory cost basis indicator, and then allows you to graph the subplots, so that you can have the subplots on a subplot instead of on the main window. But then I was thinking, hey, Seth, could you make it so that you have an indicator that will just allow you to do that for any single plot that is already added to the chart? Huh? Wouldn't that be cool? Because have you ever run into that situation where it's like you have an indicator and the indicator has like 2 or 3 different data series in it, and you're like, I want this one to be in a separate line, right? And you can't do that because when you click in and you select it, it selects all of them. They're all, you can only move them together, right? So this would allow you to split them out. I think it will work. It's speculative. It's a speculative indicator, but and you know what would be the other cool thing that you could do with it is you could then whatever data series that you select for that, you could also make it cache. Huh? So now you have a way to cache any indicator. We'll see if it works. It might not work. There might be an issue where if I'm looking, if I come in and then I'm looking at, okay, so I'm doing on bar close, and I go and I look at another indicator's value, that it might not have been calculated yet. And so then maybe it won't work. But we'll see. So I don't know what to call this. Series duplicate. Duplicator. Let's call it that. For now, maybe you can think of a better name for it. Okay, and then cached inventory cost basis is on here. Oh, I did the mailing list thing. Like I made sure that the mailing list was up to date with all the people that purchased the indicators. And it is. So when I do decide to send out a mail, everybody that needs to get it will get it. I am kind of thinking though, maybe I need to have like I don't know, like here's everything that's, I don't know. There's like a lot of things have changed, So double check multi-period candles. I already did that, so let's just delete that. Okay, and then there was a apparent bug in resting orders. So oh, I did actually create that other data series. I just opened it up on the wrong window. Okay, so I got a bunch of things to do. I could just do them all on my own time. Not any reason that I necessarily have to do it now. It is a Monday. But the other thing that's on that list... Oh, I need to bring it in over here because you probably can't even read any of that. But the other thing that is on that list... Oh, is it not on that list? Indicator... Bug, companion indicator, series duplicator, cached inventory. Okay, we're just going to add it here. Better zigzag. So I want to make a zigzag that's a little bit easier to work with and does not provide opportunities for you to see the future in backtesting. Yeah. So that will allow us to do all manner of price action backtesting. Granted, I've already kind of set that up and done that, but like we could go through all of that again with that newer indicator. I would presume that it would be the same, but I don't know, we might get through and we might see something a little bit different and realize some mistakes that we had made before. We'll see. There's a big MBO on the bid in ZF. Oh, yes, I see that. That is a monster, isn't it? Oh, that's a real monster. 4,000.
Block buy.
And as soon as we start talking about it, they boost up the treasuries. That's interesting. Well, now that's an interesting spot to see all of that happen, because we're kind of in the neutral zone between the buyer and the seller. You know, on the inventory cost basis indicator, it's pretty common. If you're here in the treasuries, you know, we're moving down. Where did my pen go? It's got to be here somewhere. Where's the pen? There it is. Normally you don't go through these lines, right? Like we'll just stay down here the whole day. But as of late, they've been doing full reversals and spending time on both sides of the cost basis. So they just had a really quick sweep there. Probably, well, okay, so if this is the cost basis for a short, and we came back to that cost basis, that's often a spot where they double down and it bounces. But this time, it looks like that the seller is puking. So that's interesting, but it did come like right to the other side and is kind of a little bit of pushback. So let's just kind of wait and see how that plays out. Okay. So I was saying I could work on those indicators. The issue is that I don't necessarily want to do all of those live and show you the code. Definitely the ones where I'm doing the funky stuff. But that I'm going to be taking advantage of all sorts of fancy C# things, and it'll probably be over most people's heads anyways. And that's kind of like part of the stuff that I can do that like most NinjaTrader programmers cannot do. So I don't necessarily want to teach it to everybody. And same with the price action indicator. I mean, I feel like I want to have a version of that is public. I think I do want to have a public version of that, because I want people to try and do back tests with it, right? But I just don't know if like programming it here with you guys really makes sense. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards not doing that and just staying focused. Well, I think what we can do is I wanted to write a new little script here. So let's see here. Which one of these should I use? Yeah, let's do this. I want to, somebody was asking me about this on Reddit, and we had kind of gotten into it with another group of traders as well. I tell you what, it's so funny. Like, I would have thought that I have a discussion with people like that, okay, they didn't want to listen, I move on. I have conversations like that all the time, but I always like gets stuck in my head afterwards. Like, how can I explain it to people so that they can understand it better? I think in that particular case, like those people, they just didn't want to listen, right? Like they had already had it in their head that I have to come up with a reason to dislike this guy. And because it was so funny, because like they were like going and finding stuff and being like, okay, here's a reason why I might not like this guy. And it's like, if you dug for even like a minute longer, you would realize that what you're saying is kind of dumb. But they weren't doing that because they were out to get you. You know what I mean? But I still kind of want to. But then it came up on Reddit, and I was talking to people on Reddit. So I think I am going to make a video about this in the near future. And the subject is trading without price. Okay, so, and there's going to be 3 sections to this. Let's make that H1. Theories why price sucks. Okay. Day trading time period. So that's the really key caveat. Is that what we're talking about is on an intraday basis. Because when you get out into things like momentum, then there are some situations where we can say that like price matters. Okay. And there's just a lot of randomness on a day trading time period. So that's kind of like your first theory as to why it doesn't work. Okay. The next theory as to why it doesn't work is because why? Let's see here. What were my reasons? I'm sitting here like I think my mind is having a hard time accessing it because it's afraid that it's going to lose the other things that I have in my temporary memory that I don't want to lose. Okay, wait a second. So let's come back here. Theories as to why price sucks. Other things to trade with. And 3, when price does matter. So when price does matter, round numbers, momentum. Okay. Other things to trade with. This would be sentiment, news, order sign. So that would be whether the market orders are buy or sell. Okay. Sentiment, news, other predictors of order flow. Let's also add in here seasonality. It would be great if you can leave the, oh yeah. Well, you just want the picture. Let's do that. I'll just put it in the interest rates channel. Okay, let's see if this all works. So there's a couple of reasons why that we have to believe, or well, okay, so if you go and you look at the data, you're going to find that the price movements are not really very effective at predicting future price movements, at least not on an intraday day trading basis. There might be some like narrow exceptions. For instance, one thing that I've seen is that like whether we moved up or down in the beginning of the session in the S&P 500 predicts whether we will move up or down in the closing auction, for instance. But you know, all of these things about here's a key price level, and are we going to, based on how we react to that price level, are we likely to go up or down from that? Or maybe we can predict that we're going to bounce off of that and go through that price level before we get to it. Or like if there was a big move in a certain pattern that we're likely to do a certain thing next. When you really test all of those things out, pretty much every piece of data that I've ever been able to either find or backtest myself says that those things just don't work very well. So why is that? Why is that? Well, so the first thing that we got to keep in mind is that we are talking about a day trading time period. So there are some things when you get into higher time frames where price does matter, and we can talk about those in a bit. But on a day trading basis, there's just a lot going on, and there's just a lot of randomness. Oh, okay, you know what? The thing that I was really trying to get in there is that, so maybe why is there so much randomness? Is it just because there's so many people trading and all of the chaos of trading? Well, that may be part of it, but I think another part of it is that market makers inject randomness. So the market maker, part of the way that a market maker works is they'll say, okay, what should my best bid and best ask be? And they determine all of that based on things like what their current inventory is, what correlated instruments look like. But then another component is they just add a little bit of randomness to it as well. And they find that by adding that randomness, that the market makers make more money. So this is kind of why orders end up being a bit more instructive of where we're going than the price, because they insert all of this randomness on the price, but when you look at the actual market orders and the impact that they have, that tends to be more consistent. Okay. The next thing is that, you know, if there is an actual like edge, people will trade on it, and trading on it will take that edge out of the market, especially if it's some sort of edge that's based on market psychology. And most of these setups that retail traders are doing, maybe let's add add a line in here. So like if you have an edge and it's based on people tend to, you know, get panicked when, you know, like let's talk about a head and shoulders, right? So a head and shoulders pattern, you get this sort of a thing, and here's the neckline, and this is the pattern. This is the pattern that you're looking for with head and shoulders, right? And the whole idea behind it is, you know, we're making higher highs and higher lows, and when all of a sudden we fail to make a higher high, then that kind of freaks people out, and they, you know, decide to bail on the trade. So like that's the whole psychology behind this. And the issue is that if it's based on people's psychology, people can react to that. If everybody knows that that's what's going on, then wouldn't they react and, you know, start to anticipate and account for that, and screwing up the setup? And then on top of that, most of the market is robots. And so then they're definitely going to find those sorts of things and take it out of the market. Really, if you want something to be like a consistent edge that can't just be taken out of the market, it needs to be based on the market microstructure. And the things that we look at in order flow that we're trying to use to predict future orders are things that tend to be things that are like the very nature of the market and aren't affected by people's psychology, etc., etc., etc. Right? Okay. Now, the next thing though is that what really matters is the market orders. What really matters is the market orders. So it doesn't matter whether we just had a big move up or a big move down or whatever. If, you know, like right now, the momentum is on the upside. Okay, the momentum is on the upside. But if somebody decided to come in here all of a sudden and just sell a ton of contracts, it is going to move down. It doesn't matter what just happened. Like that's the impact. And in this situation, the impact of those orders are going to be really strong. That's why you kind of got to be careful. You know, my issue has been, yeah, I'll get in here, and instead of getting out here, I'll get out like way down here, because what happens is the counter orders come in and I react to it too late. And when you come back, there's going to be a really strong propensity to come back because of the liquidity hole left behind, right? So market orders just matter a lot, okay? And then the other thing on top of that is that the largest players are price agnostic. So index funds, they don't care what price it is. They are just buying and selling based on the withdrawals and distributions in their fund that month. And like, you know, there's rebalancing and all of that sort of stuff, but they don't look at it and say, well, because I'm only willing to buy it if it's below this price. No, because they have to buy it. The rules of their fund state, we have to buy it. So they're going to buy it regardless of what price it is. And because of that alone, unlikely to be able to pull a whole lot out of price itself. And this is why markets are just not very informationally efficient. You look at what should price be based on all available information, it will never be at that price. Okay. So what are some things that we have that we can use instead? Because you know, retail traders are like, well, but if you're not using price, then what are you doing? Which is kind of crazy to me. It's like, okay, the one thing that almost all retail traders are using as the basis of their trading turns out to be not very effective. That's super crazy. But you can just kind of see how everybody has been so conditioned to care only about price that they can't really even envision anything else. But actually, there are ways. So what are some of those ways? Well, one of the ways that you can do that is, like, let's just talk about it more broadly from the perspective of sentiment. There are different sentiment indicators out there. Maybe you have something that goes out on social media and sees what people are saying about the markets on social media, or you have some other way to kind of gauge what people's sentiment that day are, and thus whether they are likely to be buying or selling, right? And then you buy or sell based off of that. You don't care what the price is. Maybe that sentiment may be partially influenced by price, but you don't care. You're just going off of the sentiment and buying or selling based off of that. Same thing. Let's move this microphone up a little bit. It's the same thing with news. If a piece of news comes out, like about tariffs, okay, if something about how Senate Republicans actually have more support for tariffs across the board than originally thought, you know, because right now I'm kind of like, I don't think that the tariffs thing is really actually going to happen the way that people think it is, because the president can't do it by himself. Okay, so if all of a sudden the Senate was saying like, oh, actually we're going to do it, yeah, they would sell the treasuries. They would probably sell all of the things, because that would be inflationary. Okay, and when that news comes out, doesn't matter what price it's at. It doesn't matter. You just come out and you sell it at the price that is there, and hope that you're early enough that there's lots of people behind you. That's the way that works. And so you're trading just based off of the news. Another way of looking at it would be seasonality. So I guess seasonality is kind of looking at past price history, but you're kind of looking at past price history on a daily basis, and you're saying, is this day or this time of year more or less likely to be buying versus selling? Okay, so you could be doing it based off of seasonality. So you're not going to be looking at an intraday chart in that situation, right? But you're still deciding to buy or sell. Okay. Other predictors of order flow, there's a great study about price inelasticity where they give a bunch of different ideas about things that can predict future order flows, and like none of them are really based on price. One of them is if there is a conference where they, like an investor conference where certain stocks get highlighted, the stocks that get highlighted tend to go up. Oh, that's one of their theories, right? And I think there are some studies on this, right? So that, again, isn't going to depend on the past price much at all, just whether it was highlighted or not, okay? Now, when we get into order flow, then there's a ton of things, because there's all sorts of things happening in the order flow that, it doesn't really matter which price it's happening at, right? Like, there is a limit order book with a queue at every price, okay? And so we know where the best bid, best ask is, and that's what matters. And it doesn't matter so much that the best ask is at 14 versus 14.5. What really matters is how many market orders go through at 14, how many market order sells go through at 13.5. And one of the easiest and most effective indications that we get is the sign of market orders. That is to say, whether that market order is a buy market order or a sell market order. So we can determine that by looking at what the current best bid, best ask is. So right now we're at 13.5, 14. If we see volume at 14, we know that that is buy market volume. And if we see volume at 13.5, we know that that is sell market volume, because 13.5 is the current best bid. Right? So we know that those orders are being matched up with that bid. Now, when you get a market where there's like a wide spread, there's complications. In those situations, you might want to like try and match up the market volume that you see with a corresponding change in depth of market, which can be complicated because those two feeds can kind of get out of sync. Your data provider can kind of like aggregate things and provide them to you in different orders and things like that. So you can also do things like whether it's closer to the bid or closer to the ask, and like what the overall trend is at that time to kind of determine whether an order is market buy or market sell. Or you can have market by order data, and then you can conclusively determine it. Okay. If you go at any random time and you find that you pick an order at random and you say that, okay, that order was a market buy, if you then wait an hour and pick another random order, it's a 0.5% chance that that other order will also be a buy. So there is strong autocorrelation in the sign of orders. Why? Well, they've done a bunch of research on this. They kind of thought, well, maybe it's because they see other people buying, and so they try to buy and all these things. But it wasn't able to, none of those models were able to duplicate the stylized behaviors of a market. So eventually, they came to this meta order theory. Basically, there are these players that need to buy or sell that are so large that it just takes some hours and hours to execute. And so while they're executing, it's going to be selling, and vice versa. Then they were able to duplicate these stylized behaviors. So that's the best theory that we have as to why the sign of order flows are so autocorrelated. But that ends up being probably like one of the most effective signs that we get. That's why I highly, highly recommend to people look at cumulative delta. You can kind of see in the cumulative delta, like, okay, there's an imbalance. There's more buyers than there are sellers. And, like, yeah, we're moving up. You should expect to see that. But, like, how consistent is that? And the straighter that line is, the better the chances that there's one of those big guys out there buying or selling that's going to have to buy or sell for a long time. And you can take advantage of that. Okay. So those are some things that you can use that does not really involve price, right, as a basis for your trading. And me, when I'm trading on a day trading basis, I'm trying to incorporate all of these things that I know can possibly predict future orders, and I'm adding them together to determine a bias and whether I want to buy or sell. But I avoid using price as much as possible because I know, based on all of my back testing and stats and everything, that it's mostly just random. Now, there are some situations, come back over here, there are some situations where price does matter. The big one is that there is this sort of psychological behavior where people like to place trades at big round numbers. So like if you get to 110 even in the treasuries, there's almost always a lot of liquidity there, and a lot ends up trading at those prices because people just put them at those round numbers. And it seems that the algorithms know this, and that the algorithms, you know, basically have decided to do the same thing, that they prefer certain prices. Yeah, Uzi says that there's option strike prices as well. That's true. That it can be because of option price strikes. But even if you just go to you know, like a stock where there's options at every even dollar, you're going to notice that there's probably more liquidity at every 10 or 100 or whatever the bill is. Okay, so that's one situation where like the exact price kind of matters. That one's interesting because that's not like doesn't really have anything to do with the past history of price, but just the specific number that we're at. That's kind of weird, right? But it is what it is. Okay, the other situation where price matters, and this is what we're doing when we come into the beginning of the day, is oh wait, where did our chart go here? This one right here. Okay, when I come in every morning and I'm looking at the charts, I am looking at what we did and where things look from a higher time frame, because from a higher time frame there is a lot of momentum. So if we moved down, there's a propensity to continue moving down. There's also mean reversion, which is if we've moved down a certain amount, there's a certain likelihood of there being a small pullback. Okay, so momentum and mean reversion are forces in the market. It's just that they aren't really very effective on an intraday period. And detecting the beginning of momentum is not necessarily a predictive indicator, which is to say, like, okay, if you catch momentum and you catch that trade, you can make so much on it that it makes up for all the times that you lose, because you're holding it for weeks and months, right? It doesn't work on a day basis because it doesn't go far enough in a day. But when you're holding it for like months and years, then you can make tons off of those, right? So we want to be aware of situations where momentum could be at play, and those big momentum CTA funds are possibly doing things. And that is something that you determine based off of past price history. Okay, so that's the other situation that I know of where the price matters. Oh, you know what? The other one that we should add on to that is, because, you know, Uzi was just talking about it and reminding me, is options. So let's say options or existing positions. So I can kind of look at which strike prices people own options at and predict actions that they may have to take in the future when price moves. So these market makers, they're just making a market, and so they don't necessarily want to hold an outright long or short position on something, right? They just want to be kind of market neutral. And so if you buy options from them, like if you buy calls from them, then what they're going to do is they're going to go back out and buy the actual stock to hedge their short calls position that they have on that. Okay. And something that kind of happens is that the delta, so the delta is a measure of for how much the price of the stock goes up, how much the price of the option itself goes up. And there's something called gamma, which is that the delta actually changes as you get further away from it. So it's not a straight line like here's the price, this is the stock, and here's the option, right? It's not a straight line. It's actually, it's a curve like this. Okay. So the more the price goes through, it's like almost exponential. The value of the option goes up. And so there's a point where we start moving up that those market makers have to buy more shares to account for that gamma. So we can look at gamma and the prices and everything. That's something where the price matters. Okay. Another case where I would kind of say that maybe price matters is like our inventory cost basis. That's like on an intraday basis, the closest I'm going to get to, you know, price mattering. In that instance, it's not necessarily so much like it's not something that you can see on a chart. Like that's the key thing there, right? Is well, both of these things are talking about options gamma or trying to calculate what the market maker's position might be based off of the orders that have transacted in the past. These are things that you can't see on a chart, but when you look at the orders, you can calculate them. Okay. Yeah, thank you. I was just about to say the other thing is cycles. So this one is a little bit speculative, but there is a small handful of indicators that I've used. One of them is from Euler's. He has a cycle indicator. I forget what it's called, but anyways, I have some evidence to suggest that you can kind of utilize cycles, and that some market making algorithms may be utilizing these sorts of cycles things to their advantage. Now, that's a really hard thing to sort out. Here again is like, you'll see them on the charts, but there's like some complicated math behind it and everything about, you know, how you calculate what the cycles of the market is and how you adjust to it and stuff. Okay. VWAP. I've done so much backtesting on VWAP, and interesting things happen around VWAP, but I haven't found it to be an effective trade. Backtesting, like you will see statistical aberrations in it, but the backtest does not result in a profitable strategy. Right. What is the FSC? I've never heard of that. I would add that I do not have an empirical study about cycles. So I've heard this mentioned by people before. Some of my own backtesting does suggest that cycles can help, at least. But I don't have a strong empirical backing for cycles. But that does appear to be a thing. Even if we say that that's not necessarily like you can't base your trading off of that, we can all kind of see that the market does, you know, it doesn't. It's very rare that it just goes up all day. It's going to go up and down and then up and down, and there's the cycles, and you can kind of calculate the periodization of that. Okay. So those are the situations where price does matter. Okay. But especially the whole thing about like using, you know, that there was a change in price and how big of a change in price it was, and the past price changes and this current price change compared to that past, you know, all of the things that price action traders look at, that there doesn't appear to be any efficacy behind any of that stuff at all. Sometimes I kind of wonder if the people that claim to be having a lot of success from price action are really the reason that they're having success is because they've taken everything off of their charts that can possibly bias them, and then they're actually ignoring the bars. They're actually ignoring the bars, and they don't realize that they're using things like sentiment and news and the orders that are coming through to make their decisions rather than the quote-unquote price action. That's my theory, at least. But I've never found somebody that was really having true long-term success from price action. I find a lot of people that they've been doing it for like 2 years, but I've never found somebody with like a 5 to 10 year record based on that stuff. And certainly not in futures. So yeah, I think I can flesh that out and turn that into a video. So did we write that over here? Yeah, there we go. Good. I don't know when I'll put that one out, but I'm kind of thinking, well, I don't know. We had an editor do the last video and the next one coming up. I wanted to have that out for today, but you know, I didn't record it early enough, so I'm sure that we'll have it for next Monday. But you know, the agreement that we made was 2 videos. I don't know if I can afford to continue paying him month after month. I think that like we're making enough to pay it from the stream, but like I'm also coming to the end of my rope, so I might need it for other things. But that's either way, because of that whole thing, that's kind of become like the target is 2 videos a month. So like the next 2 big videos would probably be intuition and trading without price. Trading without price might get pushed back to next year, and maybe the next video that I'll do is what are we likely to see from a Trump turn. I don't know if that video will be a good one or not, but I wrote it out. Seems timely. We'll see. In between all of that, I think that what we do is I make some videos about the indicators. Right? So, with all of that, the treasuries, and they kind of come back, maybe forming a hole at 12.5. It does look like they've kind of been there for a little while. I'm seeing a big move coming through in oil. The gold and silver are looking pretty good this morning. And the S&P 500, for the first little bit of trading here at least, has been down and then back up. I wish I knew what was going on here with it's not giving me the resting orders and largest resting orders. I wonder if that might have something to do with like how I copied it and stuff. Like maybe I just need to take them off and add them back. But I want to debug it, so I'm just we're not gonna have those indicators over there on that one. What I do see, though, is that the net change in cumulative delta in the equity indexes is positive. So let's try taking something off of that. These trades that I take here in equities are incredibly speculative and risky, so please keep that in mind. The dollar is taking a pounding. Yeah, good point. Does seem like it's kind of the dollar moving and with all of these things. which could just be they went too far last week. I don't know. I need that water not quite taste right. I wonder if no, because the stuff that goes through my refrigerator doesn't go through the water softener, so why would that taste weird? I don't know. But it kind of tastes salty. Maybe I'm just tasting like my shower. But I think I need to replace the salt. Oh, what's this? Trump confirms plan to declare national emergency to implement mass deportation program. Okay, I'm not super familiar with the Washington Examiner, but let's read this story. It seems like a relatively important thing for us to keep an eye on. President-elect Donald Trump confirmed on Truth Social early Monday morning that his incoming administration will declare a national emergency and use military resources to implement a mass deportation of illegal immigrants. The confirmation was made in response to an earlier post by Tom Fitton, journalist and president of Judicial Watch. So, don't get me wrong here. I would really like to see the illegal immigration issue solved. And I do think that people that are here illegally, especially when they're committing crimes, should be deported. But I think that the way that you go about doing that matters significantly. Because if you turn it into a military operation, so two problems with it being a military operation. Number one, everybody's going to lose their freaking minds over it. Like, oh no, this is a fascist Nazi, blah 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 blah. Like they're gonna lose it. They're gonna absolutely lose it. Like thinking that another Holocaust is happening, and that's gonna be like really damaging to the politics of the country and probably hurt Donald Trump's support. So for starters, I'm not so sure you want to do it because of that. But then second of all, it would also mean that you would be tackling the immigration issue very, very quickly, which would maximize the economic effect that it would have. Right? Now, all of a sudden, you would have farmers and people that literally just would have nobody to work for them. And it wouldn't be like a gradual problem that over a couple of years and that they adjust to. No, it's just like all of a sudden one day. So that also seems to be a problem to me. But I don't think there's anything you can do to stop him. So one way to create jobs but I don't know if it would actually really create jobs. I mean, like, well, it would create jobs at farms if you want to work at a farm. I personally don't think legitimate working activity is going to be their primary target for deportation. So I think you're correct to some extent. They have talked about like the guy that's going to be in charge of like the border czar has already said we are going to be targeting specific businesses that are involved in human trafficking and things like that. Okay. So, but I don't think that that's like an across the board sort of a thing, right? But the other thing would be, okay, why would you need the military involved in it? You only need the military involved in it for a certain amount of manpower. So I kind of feel like that you would really have to be doing like across the board targeting to require that much manpower. Like I think that immigration enforcement is capable of doing most of the deportation that we need, right? Like that was my thinking was, oh, we're just using immigration and they start deporting the people that they know are here illegally or that have been involved in crimes, and they just start going through the list of people that they've been wanting to deport for a really long time, and the government basically doesn't allow them to, right? That was like my thinking. We have tons here in Florida, and I'd wager the majority of it is legal migrant labor. We just associate it with illegality. Maybe. I mean, there are programs for workers to come over here, isn't there? It looks like I'm not gonna get my target here, guys. So this was kind of a situation I was thinking about. Was like, okay, so I have my big stop, but I'm not liking the way that it goes. I just took it off at the -1. Netflix -1 after a flop of, oh. Dude, I totally forgot about that whole thing. The Mike Tyson fight, good grief. Good grief. That was a dumpster fire, man. So like there was a hockey game, so I was watching the hockey game. It was a pretty good hockey game, but we lost. So then after the hockey game, I switch over to the Tyson fight, knowing that, you know, like the actual Tyson fight's not going to be until like the end of it, right? So I go in and I watch it. I watch like one fight, and I realize that I am not live on it for some reason. For some reason, it wasn't live, and so I tried to update it to live, and then like it wasn't working. It was weird. But by that point, I was looking online, and I was seeing that, oh, the fight was already over. So I didn't really bother watching it. I only watched like the intros and like the first round. And I watched the first round, and I am like, this is not the same Mike Tyson that we were seeing in all of the promo videos and stuff. Like, you know, showing that he was still really active and was still aggressive and doing all of his uppercuts and everything. And then you see him in the actual fight. Man has no legs at all. Oh, it was so painful to watch. I couldn't figure out if it was like, okay, were those hype videos just kind of deceptive, or was it like that the health problems that he had in between them were more serious? Or, well, they are serious, and you know, maybe if he had done the fight before that, maybe it'd be different. I don't know. But then everybody else is saying that it was just rigged. Which, you know what? I don't have any evidence to say that it is rigged. I certainly feel that it's plausible. Like, with the way that the fight went and kind of watching it, I'd say it's plausible that it was rigged. You know? So, like, then I got on TikTok, and that, like, every video was about how it was rigged. Uzi, no one gets paid for a Paul fight if they knock the kid out. Gotta make the fight last all the allotted rounds, come to a decision, and Paul wins. That's classic Jake Paul boxing gimmick. Yeah. Well, and my understanding was that Paul has never done a fight with another boxer that is like in his weight class and all of these things. And like the one time that he did, he lost. So, and like, I've seen conflicting things about like the terms of the contract. It sounds to me though like that after the fight is over, then you can see the terms of the contract, and that yes, he wasn't allowed to knock him out, had to go the full rounds, and like Mike Tyson actually gets paid more if he loses. So I think that there's many reasons, not things that would prove it, but a lot of good reason to believe that it wasn't really a fair fight. I don't think that Mike Tyson would beat him in a fair fight. But I kind of feel like that it's like, okay, Mike Tyson could certainly do damage and could certainly, like knock him out, but Mike Tyson also might get knocked out and doesn't want to get hurt in his old age, right? And so that would be a reason to kind of hold back, I don't know. I kind of have to wonder though. This is like has peak written all over it, don't you think? Like, do you really think that more people are going to watch the next Jake Paul fight? 'Cause I don't think so. Who's he gonna pull out that would draw more people than Mike Tyson, for starters, right? Like, it's just, you just can't top that. And then on top of that, everybody's gonna know, well, like, it's not really a fair fight, so like, who cares, right? I really so. But maybe the next time it's like maybe sometime in the future, Jake Paul is the one that needs the money, and then he actually does a real fight, and then we get to see him get knocked out, right? Because that's what everybody wants to see. He's just everything that I despise about YouTube and everything. I get his perspective on it. He is intentionally making money on people hating him. I get it. But my perspective is I want to see society progress, and I want to see what is best for people, and what you're doing is not good for people. I honestly don't think any of it matters, like authenticity and stuff. Majority of people don't care. Well, it's not even that. It's like, yeah. Let's not say that people don't care. Most people are not engaged enough to even know what's going on. But here's the thing. There is a point at which you can cross that it does matter, right? So like okay, so like apparently as many people watch the Mike Tyson fight as watch the Super Bowl. Like, it was like the same viewership numbers, like 40, 50 million, something like that. And most of those people are probably going to have never heard of Jake Paul, right? And so that's kind of the whole thing, is that like the number of people that like really hate you, it doesn't matter compared to the number of people that have no clue what's going on, so it doesn't matter. But when you start to get to like Jake Paul's levels of popularity, I think it does start to matter. Like, it's not going to like end him, at least not right away, but it probably is gonna like make peak Paul, because people aren't gonna watch next time. They're just gonna say, oh, it's another fake fight, right? You know who else I think is at that level that has stepped in it recently? Can I bring this one up? I don't want to be, listen, I want to try and keep things like advertiser friendly and everything, so I'm trying to avoid getting into like anything that's like too controversial and radical and stuff like that. Okay, like some of the stuff that's going on Twitch, where it's like, let's have terrorists on our stream and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that, okay? I think we're within bounds, so if I talk about this one, okay? Whoopi Goldberg. Oh my gosh. Everybody knows who Whoopi Goldberg is. And apparently she like accused a business of being mean to her or something like that. That was like not true, and they're going to sue her for defamation and everything. And she's popular enough, and I feel like that's like enough people see that's going on. I kind of feel like that Whoopi Goldberg has permanently tarnished her legacy. Kind of do. Kind of think that next time I'm watching Star Trek Generations and I see Whoopi Goldberg there on it, I'm gonna think about how terrible of a host she was on The View. You know? I think it's fair to say that he'll run out of celebrity figures to gimmick, which eventually would make people lose interest. Yes. Well, so wait a second. Who has he fought? Calls, fights, and results. Ali, Erison Gibb, Nate Robinson, Ben Erickson, Tyson Woodley, Anderson Silva, Tommy Fury, Nate Diaz, Andre August, Ryan Bourard, Mike Tyson. Oh, Mike Perry, Mike Tyson. Who else would you use? George Foreman. It's another old guy. I kind of feel like that you wouldn't want to. No, who's a young guy that you might. Okay, because the only guys that I can think of that would be like prime candidates are probably too small for it to make sense. You know, there's the size difference and everything. But okay, like Manny Pacquiao. I don't think that a fight with Manny Pacquiao would make much sense because Pacquiao wouldn't even be able to touch him, right? He'd just be able to go like this and Pacquiao. So the difference in reach is too much, wouldn't it? What about who's that Irish guy? I'm looking here at a list of famous boxers and I don't see him on here. And I'm like, isn't he the most famous currently active boxer right now? There you go. Conor McGregor. Yeah. Get him to fight. Oh, he's a UFC fighter. Yeah, you're right. Okay. That would draw a ridiculous crowd, but you gotta get the contractually right, or else Paul might get RIP'd. Well, like again, Conor McGregor is my size. I think Conor McGregor is a lot thicker than me, but we're the same height, and I think we're similar in weight. Let me see here. What's his stats? 170. He's a little bit heavier than me. He wasn't. Have you watched the new Roadhouse? You know what? It got totally panned, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, McConnor definitely has you on density because right now I'm light. I'm normally I'm 75 pounds, and I have a hard time getting under 75. Okay, but there's some fat involved in that, and now I'm 72 times 2.2, 158, 160-ish. So and then let's see here. His height is similar, isn't it? Or is he shorter than me? No, 5'9". We're really similar size. I bet you though that if you measured his wrist versus my wrist, that his wrist is probably twice as thick, right? So that is to say that we're in the same weight class and everything, but his body distributes it differently, right? His body is built to fight. My body is built to, I don't know, I presume it's to run. I tell you what, we've been over here in the E-mini for a long time. I can't believe that it didn't get stopped out yet. Excuse me. Angel asks, I am trying to use VWAP with 1 and 2 standard deviations and I can't find it on NinjaTrader. So do you have a full NinjaTrader license? Because I believe that VWAP is one of those well, you should still be able to find it though. Yeah, if you don't have it, then it's not going to let you add it on here. See, there's a VWAP. I think it's called order flow VWAP actually. Let me see here. Yeah, there you go. Order flow VWAP. That's the one that comes with it. But if you don't have a full NinjaTrader license, if you're just using the free version or whatever, then it won't let you use any of the order flow indicators. Now, there are, like calculating VWAP is not that hard to do. And so there are many, many, many versions of it out there that you can download. I honestly, I don't have one on me. You know what? I haven't put VWAP on a chart in a long time, to be honest. I haven't put VWAP on a chart in a long time, to be honest. So I have it on the DOM, but not on a chart. I have, yeah, I mean, in some respects, it's maybe similar to the cost basis indicator. Or at least it is using volume at price data. Right. I mean, can I say, like, I don't think that price and price movement is really very effective, but volume at price can tell you certain things. Okay. Maybe if you go, let's see if there's one on the ecosystem. Normally, I would say message me and I could send it to you. So there's a lot of things that, like, you know, like if NinjaTrader, for those order flow indicators that NinjaTrader has, it's like I have things that are like similar, but I don't want to step on their toes or get in trouble. So I can't, like, you know, sell it or put it out there or anything. But like, you could probably message me. But in this case, I don't think I have one. At least not anymore. Ecosystem, what do we share? Yeah, user app share. So if I come to the user app share and search for VWAP, do we get anything? Yeah, you do. There are VWAPs. So I would just go out here and try these VWAP ones that are out there. VWAP indicator, similar to the included order flow VWAP, but should be usable in strategies and supports up to 5 deviation levels. Plus, it looks dope out of the box. Oh, no pictures though. All right, but there you go. That's so you could use that. Search the app share. Okay, Imran Khan asks, I'm new to trading. From where should I start? So where I would start is my order flow video series, because I go through a bunch of important information about the market that is not commonly shared by retail traders, but really helps demystify the market and gets you on the right track. And you can use that as kind of like your base to go out and research and investigate the market yourself from there. I wanted to add the previous session level. Okay. Could probably modify my my previous day point of control levels thing to give you the previous session closing VWAP, I suppose. Oh, hey, it went to my target finally. Hey. Hey, something worked out for us for once in the in the S&P 500. Granted, it took almost 25 minutes, but we did get it. Wait, 25 minutes, and there was 34 ticks against us. 34 ticks against us versus 20 ticks in favor. But, you know, a win is a win, right? It's exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. It worked exactly the way that it's supposed to in that situation. Oh, where can you message me? You can message me on Discord. But just go and get that one from the user app share. Just search NinjaTrader user app share. And then search that for VWAP and get that one. No reason to email me. Now, I guess I should add VWAP to this. Where's my thing here? Series duplicator. We will add cached VWAP. Actually, you know what? I don't know if this one makes sense because I don't know how NinjaTrader does it, but NinjaTrader calculates the VWAP for you without tick replay. So I'm not going to do that one. I'm not going to do that one. Yeah, if Jake Paul's gonna, I kind of feel like that Conor McGregor is the only situation where he could maybe surpass the Tyson fight. But would that mean that Jake Paul would have to become an MMA fighter? Like, and I don't think that Conor McGregor would go in for the, oh yeah, you know, you lose on purpose sort of a thing. Advice to automate a strategy? I mean, you can tell me the strategy and I can try and tell you how to automate it. That's one of those things is, I mean, the whole thing is I want people to be self-sufficient, right? The adage, you know, give a man a fish, you feed them for a day, teach a man to fish, feed them for a lifetime, is extremely relevant in trading. I can like automate a strategy for you, but probably what's going to happen is you're going to find that the strategy just doesn't work. And really what you want to do is you want to be able to automate it yourself and know how to modify them and everything so that you can just continually search and search and search for things and learn stuff about the market through your back testing. Tesla stock pops 7% in pre-market after report Trump wants to relax U.S. self-driving rules. Ooh, was that why we kind of just turned up really quickly in the S&P 500? So maybe that trade that I caught was even more lucky than I thought. So I want to come around here and see if they're talking about this stuff. Breaking the submarine fiber connections cable Sea Lion 1 between Finland and Germany has been cut. It is the only cable connecting Finland with Central Europe. That's curious. Buy at previous session -2 standard deviations and sell at current +2. Okay, so when you say buy at previous session, you mean like the ending value? So like here we have the price, and then you have the VWAP, and then you have the lines, and then you say at the close of the day, decide what the 2 standard deviation is, And then the next day, you say, if we get to that 2 standard deviations price level, buy it, and then take it off at the current day's 2 standard deviations above. Okay. What if you don't get to the 2 standard deviations above? You just sell it at the close? Close it at +1. You're changing it now, or I'm not understanding? Give a Democrat a fish and he'll eat all day. Teach a Democrat to fish and he will steal your rod, take your wallet, assault the fish, and blame Trump. So I'm noticing, by the way, I don't want to dive too much into the politics. I got to be careful here with now that Trump is president and he's going to be going all out, because I think that there are going to be some things that are going to be going on that will not be advertiser friendly. And frankly, those are probably things that I would be tempted to talk about, but probably aren't going to help you too much in the market, right? But understanding the narratives that are developing and things like that I think is an important thing. And something that I'm noticing this morning over on patriots.win. Hold on, New Squawk is talking. There's a pinned post over here. Blue Sky freaking out that Morning Joe talked to Trump. Morning Joe, going to Mar-a-Lago, was not a good start to the week. George Conway, Ron. Okay, so it seems that a narrative is developing that Blue Sky is a liberal stronghold now. I think it has kind of shifted from artists don't like Twitter because they're going to use their art for AI. Now the Trump supporters are turning it into all the left-wing people are on Blue Sky. It seems to me that Blue Sky does have the facilities necessary for us to use it as traders. I haven't found people on there talking about that, so maybe you guys can find me some people to follow on Blue Sky. But anyways, okay, this strategy. So do I have just a regular VWAP? See, I had a version of a VWAP that I made, but I don't have it here. And I don't know if it would. I don't think that my VWAP required quick tick replay. That was one of the things. Is I really was trying to figure out how their VWAP works without it. Yeah. But I think the issue, Angel, is if you don't have the full version of NinjaTrader, I don't think it would be practical to backtest this. I don't think it would be practical for me to backtest it, because the one that I had required tick replay, and when you do it on tick replay, it takes forever. Like doing just a year's worth of data would be oh man, it'd be crazy. And I think that the things that they do to allow them to do it by price and not have to use tick replay. Well, let's come and look at my old. Let's see if I can find my old indicator. It's got to be out there somewhere, right? In custom indicators. VWAP bands. Okay, it doesn't use on order update. Oh, I do have on market data. See, theirs doesn't use on market data. And you can't come over here and look at it. If you come into like order flow. So I don't know how they do it. Do you use CCs on futures as a hedge? No. Wait, what are CCs? Covered calls? I've never traded options on futures. Okay, but so do you see the issue? So in order for you to do what you want to do, Angel, probably what you need to do is you need to have a full version of NinjaTrader, and then you could do it. But then you could do it and it wouldn't be too hard. I try to add it. By the way, where do we have? Oh yeah, it's over here. Very good. Sure, you can email me. So I can tell you one thing though. So like. Minimize that, close that. Let's pull up this. Big one. So your logic is going to be something like this. If so first you'll create like you'll have like at the top of the file you have order flow, VWAP. And you could just call it VWAP. I'd call it underscore VWAP because those are like instance variables. Okay. And then there's somewhere there's just going to be if state equals state that data loaded underscore VWAP equals order flow VWAP. Then there might be some settings, you know, here. I don't know what you have to pass into it. Okay. Right. And then you're going to have to do something like, so this stuff then will be inside of, on bar close. Right. There'd have to be something that is like if end of session previous double pre session 2 deviation equals, right? And then it would be like underscore VWAP dot, I don't know, deviations 2 or something like that. 0, something. It's gonna be something of that nature, right? And then you're gonna say, okay, if the close is less than my previous session 2 deviation blah 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 blah, then enter long, right? If close, I have to do close of 0. If close of 0 is above underscore VWAP dot deviation blah blah blah, right? Deviation plus 2. So I don't know exactly what that would be. I'd have to, you know, I could use IntelliSense to see, right? Exit long, right? So under those circumstances, if it doesn't reach your target deviation plus 2, then it will just close it at the end of the day, essentially, right? But where you're going to run into a problem is, okay, so here we have the VWAP, and here we have 2 deviations, and price comes down here, right? So now I buy it, and it goes back, and I got these 2 deviations here, right? Okay, all good. This is like the happy path, right? This is the trade that you want, right? Okay. But what if... Oh, let's try these like that. But what if it does this? You know, like, what if it passes that line like a trillion times and just stays down there? Right? What if it's a trend down day? Right? So I think what you're going to find is that, like, the amount that you lose when it doesn't work is going to be really bad compared to the amount that you make when it does work. Especially with 2 standard deviations, like, that's pretty rough. I don't know. I would be interested to see what the percentage win rate on that is, though. I don't think that the average win to average loser and all that is going to work out, but it might be a better than 50% win rate. Belligerent says E. coli breakout in the news. Okay. Oh, another question. Octavius. Okay, but anyways, Angel, that's like where you'd have issues, okay? But that's like basically the code that you would need. Okay, Octavius says, I'm thinking about this rig for Jigsaw and Sierra. Can you give me your opinion? And it's a Cyber Power PC, so that's probably okay. So what has it got in it? So, Ryzen 7. 8700. Okay, so it's a B650 motherboard, 32 gigs, 4060. Wow, you can get that for $1149. Well, the specs look pretty good. I don't know too much about the company itself, if they're any good, but that does look pretty good. Where is the disk? Oh, hard drive. 2 terabyte PCIe. Okay, yeah, I think you're probably good. I think that would be good to see. I wonder, you know, Linus Tech Tips, they did a video where they looked at the major guys. Well, let's see if I can find that. YouTube.com. Minus tech tips secret shopper. Yeah, it's this one right here. RPC manufacturers ripping you off. They don't have that manufacturer. Cyber power. Cyber power. Are Walmart gaming PCs that bad? Acer. What we got? I don't know why I recommended that one. I don't know if they even have one about iCyber power. Does liquid cooled matter? No, it does not. I would avoid getting a liquid cooled PC, actually. So, if something being liquid cooled is technically more efficient, but like air fans are more than enough to cool a PC, especially now that they've got these huge towers and all these crazy things. What you get with a liquid cooled is like it's more expensive and you're more likely to have maintenance issues with it, but it looks cool. It seems cool. So the noise can be a problem. Yeah, but most of the time, liquid cooling doesn't solve the noise problem. Interestingly enough. Because you still have fans in a liquid cooled system. It's just that the fans are like outside of your piece, you know. The fans are attached to your radiator instead of your processor. Like a radiator does cool things better, but like you still have a fan, so it doesn't solve the noise problem. Yeah, pump can be a problem. So like you're introducing all of these issues with like your pump goes out, there's a water leak, there's, you know, when and again, it's substantially more expensive when you can just get like $100 fan that will fan it just as good. Oh boy, MicroStrategy has acquired more Bitcoin. Yeah, well, the pump is on over there. I really have to wonder about the people that they see MicroStrategy as bought Bitcoin and they're like, oh, I really need to get on this bandwagon too. Just doesn't seem like a very solid basis for a market, you know? When one company is buying it up. Top signal? Well, I don't know about that. One of the things that I see over and over again is that people will say, "Oh, Guatemala or whoever it was, they bought Bitcoin, or MicroStrategy bought Bitcoin, and then we see the price go up, and they're like, oh, see, they're gonna make so much money. But then, like, when you know the things that we know, El Salvador. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I always forget who it is. It's El Salvador. But then it's like, the reason it moved up was because they were the one that's buying it. Like, once you realize that all of that movement was probably from one large person, it makes you think about things very differently, right? You know, one thing that I was thinking about, because again, it kind of looks like the Trump administration is going to be friendly to crypto. So I don't know if they're going to do anything about it, but that doesn't mean that other countries will be. Right? Like, part of the reason that we had part of this crypto winter that we've had since 27. I mean, I guess you could call the 2020 was a bull run too. I mean, we did reach new highs and everything, so let's count that one too. But it really has not been the same since 2017, right? And part of that was because, like, China banning it, right? I think that European countries, maybe European countries will do what the US is not doing. Who knows? Who knows how it goes? But all I see is like a house of cards being propped up by like 2 or 3 people. Oh, it's not going up enough. Print more Tether. That's the other thing. Because I have not seen this thing go up without there being huge Tether prints. Sailor's own words, I'll be buying the top forever. Well, yeah, but what Sailor is saying is that I've basically found a legal way to make a Ponzi scheme that can just go on forever and ever and ever, because I can always borrow more bonds and buy more Bitcoin with it. And as long as Bitcoin doesn't go down, doesn't fall too much, and he's forced to sell it, which didn't happen last time, he can continue to do that. But that's again where it's like, okay, but if the US government came in and said, hey, Tether, you're acting as a bank, and that's not allowed. and there was a panic because everybody would realize that Tether really is unbacked, and that you can't get all of that money that you have in Bitcoin back out. Then Sailor would be screwed. He would probably blow out, and then he'd probably get criminally prosecuted after that. But as long as it continues to work, nobody cares. It's just like with all Ponzi schemes, right? Is like, really, the authorities just don't do anything until people get hurt. Okay, so by the way, earlier we talked about Donald Trump saying that he's going to use the military assets to reverse the immigration. I found the tweet, and all it is Tom Fitton reporting that there are reports about it, and Donald Trump saying true. So Oh, I see. Morning Joe said they met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago on Friday for the first time in 7 years and agreed to reopen lines of communication despite disagreement. So they're bending the knee again now that he's president. I got you. Interesting machinations in the political world this morning, I think. But what I'm taking away from all of this is that, like, the constant cycle of mass hysteria in the news, where there's always something going on in the news for liberals to be, like, you know, completely melting down about, is never going to end. Is never going to end. And that Donald Trump is really going to go for, like, the most extreme measures. So I think it could hurt his support, but let's see how it goes. Tend to be wrong about those sorts of things. You know what's been so wild to me, by the way, another thing in the political world, like, so I was seeing this trend on TikTok that was basically like people, it would just be like themselves with text in front of it, you know, usually. And they're like, oh, okay, but you realize that all of the educated people voted for Kamala Harris, right? Well, this is basically like what the gist of it was. Is like all of the rich college educated people voted for Harris. And I'm just like, my gosh, you people really just completely missed what's been going on for the last, like, 12 years. You really just are that clueless, that blind to what's going on that you don't see this. Like, the whole freaking point, the reason that Donald Trump has been so successful, the reason that these people are voting for him is that they're going, oh, you know what? These college people really aren't as smart as they're claiming, and they don't make decisions because they're smarter than us. They make decisions that benefit themselves at our expense. That's why things have been going the way that they've been going. And the working class people have said, you know what? We just can't trust them to do the thing that's good for us. We have to represent ourselves. Yes. The bias that comes from when you benefit from something is just too strong for most people to pass up. And so college educated representatives and voters will tend to make decisions that benefit them rather than decisions that are the best for everyone. Like, they don't care if you can't get a job, or that the job that you're working is chronically underpaid because of oversupply from the immigration or because of competition from abroad. They don't care about that. What do they care about? That they get their goods for cheap, right? Just as a simple example. And I'm not saying that you should have this policy or that policy. I'm just saying the reason that they make the decisions that they do is because you'll notice, kind of seems like that whatever you do, it always benefits you the most. That's why things are going the way that they are. And then on top of that, they're starting to realize, oh, maybe being college educated isn't all that, because, like, these college educated people believe all sorts of crazy, stupid things that make no sense and aren't right. And these college educated people apparently have not been paying attention to politics and don't realize that that's what's going on and are saying these sorts of things publicly unironically. I just can't wrap my head around somebody being that obtuse, you know? Man. Well, we got 20 minutes left here. I kind of really wish that I could do that back test with the VWAP thing for you, because I kind of feel like I'd be able to do it, but I don't I have a license that allows me to do that, but it doesn't connect with my broker, so I can't do it. Angel says, I found you over the weekend. Great work. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. You know, I really appreciate it because we've worked so hard on this channel. We've worked so hard on this channel, finding information for you that is accurate, empirically backed, and is different from the things that you're hearing. It's kind of a unique situation where we're able to tell you this vital information about the market, and the entire retail world is just completely neglected it for some reason. But that's the way it is. Like, really what it comes down to is, hey, when you're trading, what determines whether you make money or not is price. So it makes sense to people that what they would be trying to analyze is price. But the reality is that price matters so much. There's so many things manipulating it that it doesn't predict things very well, right? And we, you know, retail traders, they just go based off of what other people have told them. And meanwhile, there's been all of this data that has been collected and analyzed over the last 50 years or so. And they've kind of demystified some of these things about the market, but because it's not about price, retail traders just ignore it. So, I so frequently feel like that we do not get the attention that we deserve. That we are providing better trading info than anybody else on YouTube, and yet we're still this teeny tiny, you know, 16,000 subscriber channel compared to these crackheads and scammers that get hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So when you guys come in and thank me for the work, I appreciate it. Because sometimes I'm like, why am I putting all of this effort? Because I'm not getting paid from it. Well, we get paid a little bit, but not enough to live on. And, you know, we trade, but kind of the whole thing is that, yeah, you can make money from trading, but it's kind of hard. Like, the amount of edge that you can actually draw from all of this stuff is kind of limited. Unless you get lucky and you really find something that nobody else has found, which I haven't done, so... Okay, I'm just seeing something else here. Brian Allen says, Mitch McConnell just shut it down. No recess appointments, no cabinet approvals. Trump team is officially locked out. This isn't just a casual move. The Supreme Court has made it clear that the Senate must recess or adjourn for at least 10 days before a president can make unilateral appointments. But here's the catch. Pro forma sessions keep the Senate technically open during long breaks, with a lone senator showing up to open and close the chamber. No real business, just optics. And the House plays its part too, blocking any chance for the Senate to fully adjourn. McConnell's maneuver leverages these rules to maximum effect, ensuring Trump's team is stalled at every turn. Tactical genius or petty politics, either way, the gridlock is real. Posted 1 hour ago. So if Donald Trump is not able to get any of his picks into cabinet positions, that really throws a wrench in things, doesn't it? Who is going to throw in the towel first, CNN or MSNBC? Oh, man. Well, I mean, they've both already kind of thrown in the towel, haven't they? Like, MSNBC is up for sell, and CNN has said, you know, we're too biased against Trump and we need to fix that. So I kind of feel like they've both already thrown in the towel. So I wonder if I come over to Politico if there's something about this. Let's check my political blogs. Democrat and regime media still incapable of reading their... Oh, by the way, when is Thanksgiving? Is Thanksgiving next Thursday? Yes, it's the 28th. Fourth Thursday. No, I don't see anything over here. I guess one thing is that I don't think that all of Trump's picks will have a problem. Matt Gaetz will probably have a problem, but... I don't see anything about this anywhere else. So I'm a little bit skeptical about this. Let's see here. Former Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is being trolled online, including nasty messages about his health as MAGA world continues with outrage over his reported rejection of Donald Trump using recess appointments to install his cabinet. McConnell reportedly issued a warning to the president-elect's team when he told colleagues that there will be no recess appointments, which would allow Trump to avoid Senate confirmation of his more contentious picks. That's according to a post on X on Sunday by the New York Magazine staff writer Jane Mayer, which has since been deleted. The response has been fast and furious, with Trump supporters online slamming the 82-year-old senator for his health. One X-user called him Mr. Freeze, referencing some episodes the Kentucky senator had in the past year. Another wrote he is clearly not well. Now they're going out and so stuff they don't care about. Okay, so I don't see anything more about that. But let's just put this one on like rumored but not confirmed yet, because the source was from a media outlet, but they only posted it on Twitter and they since deleted it. So it might be false. I don't know. Close all of the windows that I used to try and search about that. Change my view. Astrology is not a science; it's a scam. Yeah, no, I don't think that you'll find many people on Reddit willing to argue with you on that one. Let's see if anybody tried. Yeah, I'm pretty sure astrology is widely considered pseudoscience. This guy's saying, well, it's not a scam because it's for entertainment purposes. I mean, yeah, question. Yeah, this is funny. No, nobody's trying to argue. Wait. Maybe if I sort it and most controversial. Deleted. I was really hoping that somebody would try and come up with an argument for why it's realistic, but it's not happening. Josh Howley says an anti-usury bill capping outrageous credit card rates ought to be a top priority of the next Congress. This already happened last week. Bernie Sanders will look forward to working with the Trump administration on fulfilling his promise to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. Do you guys think that this Congress actually has the votes to cap credit card interest rates at 10%? Like, I could see them maybe capping it at like 20%, but 10%? If you cap them at 10%, that basically means that most Americans right now can't have credit cards. It would be like instant recession, man. I don't see that one working out. Oh yeah, I have to talk about this one. Biden authorizes use by Ukraine of US-made long-range missiles inside of Russia. So I think what's been going on there, my understanding is that Russia has been starting to go after infrastructure. And so it's basically turning into, okay, you're just not going to have a country anymore. And I think that that's why Biden finally authorized those strikes. Now, Russia in the past has said that, like, if you do that stuff, that it'll be World War III. So I think people are concerned that before Donald Trump gets put in power, that we'll have World War III. I don't know if it's actually that serious. Let's just kind of keep an eye on it. Usually those sorts of things that like seems like a big deal and it kind of fizzles out. But you know, if it is a big deal, you're going to want to know about it and you're going to want to know exactly when it happens and be able to react to it, right? So keep an eye on that one. I don't know how this goes. It really seems like the situation where Ukraine pushes Russia out is not going to happen. The situation where like Ukraine falls and Kiev falls and Ukraine is taken over by Russia completely. That also seems unlikely to me still. But it seems more likely than it did in the past. That's for sure. And there's a lot of comments on this Reddit thread about it too. Use is likely to be restricted to the Kursk region initially. ISW has identified some 225 targets in the range of ATA CMS weapon systems. Okay, so that is actually a lot less of a bigger issue, because I think when people were talking about this initially, they thought that like rockets would be going down in Moscow, and that would really freak people out, right? This, what I'm seeing, not as big of a deal. We got a lot going on today, man. That's like the 5th or 6th key political story going on today that we're going to have to keep an eye on. And meanwhile, I'm probably going to, like, after this stream, dive into, well, submit job applications and all that stuff, but then get back into programming on the indicators and deep dive into that and probably completely turn off from the news. When today is maybe one of those days where you could maybe actually like read all day. All right, well, it is past 9 o'clock. I was just kind of browsing, checking a couple of other things, making sure there weren't any other comments here. It was a good stream today, guys. I got my work cut out for me today, so I'm going to head out. I will catch you tomorrow. Make sure you give this stream a like and go and watch some of my other videos if you haven't. In the meantime, stay excellent.